to turn the pages. It's time to type and write. It's time to get things started on the most booktational, inspirational Once Upon an Author show. Here's your host, Danielle M. Orsino. Yay!
You don't like me? Fine. Don't waste my time telling me all about it. Just go be miserable all on your own. Harley Quinn. Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Once Upon an Author. I'm your host, Danielle M. Morsino. Before we jump into things, let's take care of a little bit of business. I was not here last week, unfortunately. As you guys know, I have my asthenia gravis, and I had a reaction to the IVIG and got stuck with aseptic meningitis, which is a normal reaction to IVIG, and I was out. So I kind of left you hanging a little bit on what we were going to discuss today. So this episode is going to actually be two parts because there's so much to get into. So let's jump in. It is time for Forgive Us. This is the 6th book in volume 1. It's the last one, the big climactic finish. And it was a bit of a doozy from start to finish. There was drama, business, personal, and of course, we're back to that cover stuff. It was a lot to do, from just getting it done and knowing I was closing volume 1. That like this was it. It was done. There was nothing to add. I couldn't come back and say, oh, but I want to do this. Oh, but I want to do that. It was just, this was it. So it was a little emotional, and it was a new release. So as I said, Locked Out of Heaven, it was a 2nd edition. And from that point on, all of them were new releases and first editions. This one was it. And this was going to be the end. Not the end of the fae, but volume 1 was done. And to me, this was like, okay, if you finish volume 1, like you're really an author. That's how I felt. Like, this is it. No turning back. And I was leaving it again on a huge cliffhanger, so I really couldn't go backwards. And the end, I introduced my protagonist for volume 2, Graham. So it was like I was really putting a lot out there. A lot. So I was very nervous about this one. But first I had to do the cover. Kind of got to get the cover done first. You can write all you want, but your book still needs a cover. So I needed to do a photo shoot, but I just couldn't go back up to New York and do it. It just was not feasible. I had spent so much money on the last one, on Kingdom Come. There was no way I was doing it for Forgive Us. So I decided to stay in Charlotte. First mistake. Huge. Not having Giulietti, my main photographer, just right there, like check 1, mistake. But okay, I found this new guy who was down there. I'm not going to give his name. He goes by one name. Once again, right there, I should have like backed away a little bit. Yeah, like Cher. Okay, that's how he was. Once again, I should have figured that out. I thought he understood the assignment. We had like a 2-hour meeting. Spoiler alert, he did not. Not even close. Jacob, my friend Jacob, flew down because he was going to get headshots and he was going to help me out. So I thought, all right, cool, this will work. Jacob did not have fun either, but whatever. That's his story to tell. I'll give you some hints on how it went, though. Meanwhile, the cover was going to be a dark fae all by themselves, which I hadn't done. King Jarvok had been on it with me, but all the covers leading up had always been a light fae. So this was my first female dark fae I was introducing. And once again, armor had to be made and all of that. But this would be Asa. So she's the dark fae seer of the Court of Dark. She's a warrior. I mean, she's like a bad girl chick. Like, you don't want to mess with Asa. She's also kind of the heart of Bloodhaven. So she's a really important character. She's this crazy blue hair that's all got different shades of blue and whatever. It's really cool, but she has a mask on. And this mask symbolizes a lot for her. So I really had to work on every little detail of this because it all had to make sense. So I sent the inspiration pictures to the photographer because that's what he asked for. He wanted to understand fae because everybody hears fae, they think fairies, they think Tinkerbell. This is so far from Tinkerbell, and my fae are so far from Tinkerbell. So he then asked for sample chapters. I'm like, cool, this will go really well, right? Like he's asking for sample chapters. He wants to get in our head. This is going to be awesome. Once again, wrong. Like if I had a little like buzzer button, I'd be hitting it right now. Totally wrong. Yeah. So day of the shoot, Jacob's with me. He does his photo shoot first, and it looks like it's going great. I mean, Jacob's just a ham in front of the camera, so he's slaying it. It's going awesome. I'm in hair and makeup. Makeup artist was great. Chick was really, really good. Like she got it first shot. I've got my black lips, the whole thing. I got this blue hair. I loved this wig. And then it's time to put on the mask. It's like this leather mask, but it's got all these cool curves and waves to it. And I put on all these dark black crystals. It looks really cool. It's like one of my pieces that I'm really proud of. The armor came out great. I'm set. So I get in front of the camera and I'm ready to pose, and I get in like my first kick butt pose. He didn't like that. So he asks me to do like this timid fairy thing with like my hands across my chest, looking up at like the sun or the moon or something, like wishing on a star. And I'm like, excuse me? Uh, uh, we went over this whole thing. This is like a warrior fae. She used to slay demons. She protected the Shining Kingdom. This is not Tinkerbell. He puts me in all these poses that are just like demure. And I can't even describe to you how opposite they were from the sample chapters I sent, the pictures, all of it. But I was like, maybe he just needs to kind of get going, like get his flow. We got to feel each other out. So I did a couple of them, but they were like really sensual kind of things. And it's like, no, I already told you I got no smut in my books. This was giving me smut Fabio. And I'm like, we got a problem. Now, the other issue was, as many of you know, if you've seen me on Facebook Live when you do this or have checked me out, I have bright red hair. No, it is not my natural color. Obviously, this color does not exist in nature, not even on a cardinal. Uh, so it was slipping through. The mask and the way my wig was, it would slip back. So you could kind of catch my hairline. So a couple times, even the makeup artist stopped, and so did Jacob. And they were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can see it. We tried every wig thing to like cover it up. We couldn't. And so we asked the photographer, can you fix this in post? And he was like, yeah, no problem. Don't worry about it. So we'd pull it forward. We couldn't do it for every shot. And he kept saying, don't worry. Okay. Now, if we've already gone back through when I've asked for things to be fixed in post, you know what happens. Do you think this went any differently? I'm going to wait. If I had the Jeopardy music, I'd be playing it right now. What would your answer be? Please form it in a question. I'll wait. Beep, time up. Time is up. No, it did not get fixed in post. Your answer is, what did not get fixed in post? My hairline. There were about 25 unusable shots. Because, of course, we all know the publisher couldn't fix it. I sat there trying to fix it. It wasn't done. So those were out. For the rest of the shoot, I had to direct myself. Okay. The final straw was the signature shot. In a lot of my pictures, if you've seen them online or whatever, I'm usually in character with one of my books up to like my nose. And so you could just see my eyes, but I'm clearly in cosplay. And that was what I needed. And I did every shot of books like this. So I had Thine Eyes of Mercy. I had From the Ashes. I had even like done one, even though I didn't need those shoots. I had like, we had photoshopped it in. So there was always one. So I needed this. I told him I have to have this shot. He was like, no problem. We'll do it at the end. I had text messages, I had emails. Jacob had emailed him because Jacob would sometimes like not be my assistant, but just kind of act as it, just to help me out. He'd even said, look, we really need this shot. No problem. I did the shot. We did several of them. Well, when I got the proofs in, guess which set of shots was missing? Once again, I'll wait. That shot. So when I asked him about it, he said there was a glitch. Well, the same glitch had happened to Jacob. He was missing a bunch of his shots. He said there was some memory card glitch. I don't really know. I don't know enough about photography like this to know how this happens. But I lost a bunch of these shots. I lost a bunch of the end shots where I was doing like kicks and all this other stuff. They were gone. Okay, calm down and breathe. So he said, don't worry about it. Just put on a white button down like you had. Now that's what I had shown up in to the shoot. He's like, I'll just come to the house. We'll go outside and we'll shoot you. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This was done in character. I need that. He tried to tell me, ready for this? This is great. He mansplained, which I love so much, that I didn't ask for it in costume. I never said that. I just said I needed an quote unquote author shot. Oh, folks, I kid you not. You want to see this redhead turn to real flames? This was the moment. Swore up and down I never asked about these shots, never said they were important, all that. Now I had receipts. I had receipts upon receipts upon receipts. Don't be gaslighting me, dude. I know what I need. I had to let it go. But needless to say, I did not use him again. It was fine. It was one of those USA moments. USA. Gotta just deal. I learned to not stray from Julia again and to just, you get what you pay for. He wasn't that much cheaper because he was just the best in Charlotte. So if you're down in Charlotte and you want to use somebody, call me, like email me, text me, and I'll let you know if it's him or not. But moving on because it just gets better. It just, figures it was the last book. It's the last one. I was almost home free. I turned in the cover photos, like I had to give them all the proofs. I had to give the publisher all the proofs so they could decide. And the CEO had to get on a call with me to tell me, you can't have any more blue covers. I'm like, what do you mean blue? I can't. She's like, look, the last cover, you asked for all blue. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. I didn't ask for a blue cover. I gave you a green dress, a chartreuse green dress. You guys turned it blue. She was like, what are you talking about? So I sent her the raw photograph. Yeah. She realized I didn't ask for it. She went back and asked, she asked to see emails. There were no emails asking where I asked for a blue background. I even sent her sunshine and showed he was orange. So she was like, okay, no problem. She went to everybody and said, do not give this character a blue background. She also has blue hair. Don't do it. What do you think the cover designers, and it wasn't their fault because they were taking orders from the CFO, who's also the chief creative officer, she gave herself that title, did? They waited for the CEO to go on vacation and then sent me the cover for approval saying the CEO approved this. It was a shot. I was about 3/4 waist up, slipping the mask down. So it was a lot of blue hair, lots of blue hair on a blue background. Yep, yep, yep. And the worst part was they showed me the back cover where the synopsis would be. It was a different background than the front cover, and it was pulled from someone else's book. It was like a Swamp Thing cover back, which I knew because I had just helped that author do the trailer. So I knew that back. I knew that background. So they just like jigsaw puzzled this thing together. I was upset. Once again, flaming red hair was on fire. So I wrote to the CEO. emailed her, sent her this, and was like, "Did you approve this? Because they're telling me you did, and this is the cover you want for me." She was not happy, like, not even a little. And what I didn't know I did was I helped kick off World War III within the company. There were already things brewing, which we're going to get into next week, because we're going to like take care of the business side of this because there's a lot going on. Um, but this was kind of one of those final straws that was drawing that schism within the company. I didn't know that I was choosing a side. I was just like, why are you guys doing this? Thus the sabotage song. Uh, I didn't know what was really happening. This cover took weeks. This all went down in about February. The book was due to launch in May. It's not a lot of time to get the cover done, approved, get it listed, everything. We were still trying to figure this out. By March, we were still trying to figure it out. We went through several iterations. What we wound up with, not my favorite. I'll be very honest with you. Probably one of my least favorite covers that I've done. And I had such high hopes. And the one I wanted, the picture I really wanted on the cover, was me with the mask like off and away from my face, looking through it. That's really what I wanted because it was all symbolic. And authors, we get like crazy with that stuff. But they wouldn't use it because the CFO again said all my covers had been like three-quarter body shots and you can't have a face like a close-up. I wanted it different because I figured it was the last one, but they were like, no, 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 can't have it. Whatever. Brand identity. Like these people ever cared about brand identity. If you line up all my books from them, the font is like different sizes. My name is different sizes. It's shadowed in some places. The filter is different on some books. Some books look like a painted oil painting cover. Some look like photography. Brand identity. Give me a break. But okay, whatever. So like I said, the picture I got, and I know for everybody out there who's listening right now, you guys can't see it. So I'm going to urge you to go to WWDB's Facebook page and just, even if you just fast forward to watch this one piece or go to my YouTube channel so you can see this cover, just so you'll understand what I'm going to explain next, but I'll give you in details. So for everybody watching right now, this is the cover. That's what I wound up with. So I can explain this. The cover is me as Asa standing there with a sword that looks like it's lighting up. It's not a lightsaber next to my face with a black animal in the background. Now, if you're looking at it, you're like, okay, it looks okay. There are so many mistakes though in that. First of all, nothing is touched up. You can see bra straps and other things. Um, the black animal in the back you would think is a panther because it's so big. It's actually a mink. That's my familiar Holly. Uh, she looks like a huge panther. I have no idea why. The sword Asa is holding is actually her celestial blade, which was the dark fae's big weapon. She's not supposed to be holding it. It actually is part of their aura. So when they unsheath it, it comes from an aspect of their forearm. They never hold it. They can't. It's part of them. There's no piece to hold, which was explained several times. It doesn't even look like that. It looks like a Chinese broadsword. The picture they have was sent to them so they could understand the glow, not to use. So I don't even know if that's allowed, to be honest, what's on the cover. That could be somebody else's piece of art. I'm not sure if it's allowed. So, you see what I'm saying? Like I said, not my favorite piece. I don't know why they chose this picture, but I had to be like, yeah, okay, because we had at this point been through five, and I kept going back to use the other one. So that's what was released. Like I said, not my favorite because It just doesn't go with it. You would never know, looking at that cover, what was happening in the book, that they were in the middle of a huge political upheaval, that Asa was disobeying orders and going back to the palace to break a kid out of jail. She was on the run and was actually in disguise and taking off her mask for the first time in centuries. You see what I'm saying? Like you'd look at that and be like, okay, I guess she's going to go into battle. No, during this book, she's running around dressed actually differently. And she's got a bunch of kids with her. My Face Scooby Gang is in here. So that's why I wanted the mask off. And I had taken a bunch of pictures with the mask coming off because this was a big moment for her when she takes the mask off. Okay. This totally got left out. Holly is a big deal, but so is Rowan, her counterpart. And Rowan is nowhere on there. So you kind of get a different feel for the book. And I was really scared people were going to open it and be like, what? This book is not about what I thought it would be about. The other part is halfway. The book has it's got a decent number of chapters. It's a long book, but at the end are four vignettes actually, take you through history so you can kind of pass through and quantum leap all the way to 21st century. So there was a lot with this that needed to get figured out. I had illustrations that for some reason nobody could. I kept saying I need a vignette sketch for the vignettes at the end. That took weeks because I was using the word vignette wrong. Because my stories were over a certain amount of words, and that means short story, not vignette. You could see me right now. So there was a lot that was wrong with this book. And I didn't know why I was getting nitpicked. So when I mean vignettes, after the last chapter in the veil, it said Seraphina, Lilith, Angelique, French village, whatever. And it would be their little tale. The next one would go in historical order. And it would be the next character. Then the next one, and each one would slowly get us to Graham in Sotheby's, New York. So I called them vignettes because they were little contained stories. But to me, they were just small little clips of life. So I thought of like a still life, so a vignette. But apparently I was wrong. So weeks of me saying I need a little sketch of London, Victorian London for the vignettes, or I need Russia for Rasputin. I don't understand what a vignette is because I was over by 50 words, and that's a short story. These were the problems I was having, and I had no idea why. Because, like I said, World War III was brewing within the company. And by going to the CEO and using a different editor, because I did get a new editor, her name was Laura, and she was absolutely phenomenal, and I loved her. She has her own editing company, Laura Mita. So if you ever need editing, check her out. Laura, last name is Mita, M-I-T-A. Great. By going with that, not using my other one, I had drawn a line in the sand and chosen my side. But I didn't know. So all of a sudden, little things were happening. And things weren't coming on time for me. And like I said, language was all of a sudden, I don't understand vignette. It's a short story. And covers were getting pushed through. What was happening? My metadata was messed up. They put a ticket in. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. Would I figure out? Yes, I did figure it out. But it was at a lot of other people, including myself, we figured it out too late and damage had been done. And we were still in it. So we're going to talk about that on the next episode because we're going to handle the business side of what was happening because I was working for them. So things started leaking out. But I still had a book. I was still an author. So I was working for them, but I was still an author and I still had a book to promote. And while this was all happening, I thought I got my big break when I received a phone call from an old friend saying, your book was chosen to be on the Tamron Hall show as an indie author to watch. So while all this was happening, I get a phone call in February from my friend Beth, who said that somebody brought my book in who had read Locked Out of Heaven and said, I think this girl would be great. And Beth was like, I know the author. I mean, talk about serendipity. Like, it doesn't get better than that. I'm thinking, this is it. This is my chance. I'm going to be a best-selling USA Today best-selling author. Oh my gosh, I'm on my way. What do you think happened? Sabotage. Major, major, major sabotage. And we're going to get into that story because I need time for that one. Like, I need a long bit of your time to tell you what happened with that, because that almost broke me. And that was one of the reasons that led me to leave. And why I will never go with another publisher again, and I will stay on my own. But we'll get to that next week. For my writers out there, tell the story you want to tell. Do not spend your time trying to please everybody. It'll never happen. You should only please yourself. Only write a story you want to read and be protective of it. I've said this before and I will say it again. Be protective. For everyone out there, have you ever realized too late someone wasn't really on your side? How did it change the way you moved forward? Not how you handled it. How did you move forward differently? Did you learn? And what did you do? What steps did you take? Was it too late? Think about that for a second. Maybe it's happening right now. I will see you guys next week. You can always catch me on Instagram at daniellemorsinoauthor. Slide into the DMs. Let me know if you have any questions. You can check this episode out always at WWDB's Facebook page. Check out the Facebook Live version, or you can go to my YouTube page where I will put up all the behind the scenes clips of what went on with this photo shoot. Until then, thank you very much, everyone, and I will see you next week for part 2 of Forgive Us.